I want to bring back Robert Costa. And Bob, you sit here and we're talking about another political shooting in America. You just can't help but wonder, how did we get here? What is going on? At one hand, there's an event where it's debate me. They're debating the issues in a civilized fashion, back and forth. And then you have this. What has happened here?
Maurice, it's hard to understand how and why any person would commit a horrific act of violence, especially in this political setting. And we're still trying to gather more information here at CBS News about what exactly took place. What I can speak to broadly as a reporter who has covered Charlie Kirk and his political movement is that he is someone who has carved out a space as someone who is a major ally for President Donald Trump. He is also someone who has espoused conservative views across the board, and he is proud of those views. He does not in any way take a back seat to participating in the public debate. He welcomes debate. He goes to campus after campus, has event after event. I have covered some of his Turning Point USA events, and they, in many ways, echo Trump rallies. And they cover the full spectrum of issues that have become important to the Trump movement and to the conservative movement that Charlie Kirk has long counted himself a part of. And those include cultural issues. That includes foreign policy. He has spoken out about what is going on in Europe with Russia's war against Ukraine. He has spoken out about different cultural debates in this country. He has spoken out about President Trump and all of the challenges he has faced politically and legally. So if you don't know Charlie Kirk, understand this is someone who is in the trenches and enjoys being in the trenches. Whether someone does not like Mr. Kirk and his views or loves Mr. Kirk and his views, I have seen Charlie Kirk up close so many times have fun with the process. He has called himself a happy warrior who embraces the idea of a political fight. But a political fight in no way means violence. It means a healthy debate. And this is someone, though, who has been in the arena. And some people in this day and age retreat from the arena, worried about violence, criticism. Kirk is someone I have covered again and again, go right into that arena, whether it be in an arena or a college campus, and say, let's have the debate, let's have the discussion. And that's why he has so many admirers on the right, inside the Republican Party. They see him as a rising star. And it's notable to me that even within the past 5 or 6 months, I was having conversations with top Republicans who said Charlie Kirk, down the line, among other names, is someone they considered a future presidential candidate. He was seen as someone who had a real political future, whether it was running for elective office or being a political activist, maybe working in the administration at some point. But he has always said to his allies and friends he likes being on the outside. He likes being on these campuses, having the direct back and forth. And he was shot today doing what he loves the most, which is engage with people in a roaring debate in a rally setting.
And some of those cultural issues, including a quote like this one from Charlie Kirk. What is going on with women and not wanting to prioritize family? And, you know, a quick search will show you that he is seen as one who wants women to have babies and work less. Things like that. He relished that kind of thing, being a provocateur, getting people to think and debate. And that's probably what he was engaged in right there, Bob.
I think about his family. I know many of Kirk's friends in text message right now are talking about his family more than his political views. He has a young family. He has spoken openly at recent public events about how much getting married and becoming a father has meant to him as a man in a younger part of his life. And this is something that has political seismic impact because of his high profile and his association with the president of the United States. But let it also not be forgotten that even as he had all of these positions, many of them seen as controversial on different issues, he had a huge galaxy of support on America's right and center right. He was seen as someone who was dynamic and has always been seen as someone who is dynamic and really out there, willing to engage in political battle. But you see today, just across the American political spectrum, shock and the president of the United States weighing in quickly. So many Republican politicians now on social media doing the same. It's a moment, a crossroads, where everyone's not really sure what's the next turn.
Yeah, disturbing video right there, Bob, as we watch Charlie Kirk getting shot this afternoon at Utah Valley University there at an event where he was doing some give and take with people there on all aspects of the political spectrum. Let's go to Justice correspondent Scott McFarland. Scott, you learning anything new right now about the investigation?
Yeah, let's start off. The FBI is now on the ground. Their Salt Lake City field office has 17 resident agents around that area, and they're there helping lead this investigation. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, this is customary, as is always the case in these types of shootings where there is a potential fatality or a grievous injury. They respond to the scene as well. The campus is closed. That's no surprise. It's a huge campus, a sweeping part of central Utah. Tens of thousands of students. They've closed that campus, and we know we've got reports of people seeing images of somebody being handcuffed on site near the site of this shooting today, a person being handcuffed. And there is a university alert to students that somebody is in custody, but we haven't gotten that from police yet. You have so many images, including the ones you're seeing right now, that have all these parallels. The type of sunny day, the red hats in the crowd, so many parallels to the images you saw last July from Butler, Pennsylvania, that same elevated view down to the stage. There's obviously going to be some concern. We're hearing it articulated already about the metastasizing violence against people who are in the political space, people who do political speeches, people who are in politics. It's noteworthy, I think, Maurice, that today was jury selection for the man in Florida charged in the second alleged assassination attempt against President Trump last year. There were two. This is going to raise concerns about more violence, more political threats in an already toxic moment.
Concerns across the board, Scott. Vice President J.D. Vance posting on X just a short time ago, "Dear God, protect Charlie in his darkest hour." I believe we also have a statement from the university, the Utah Valley University. Here it is. Today at about 12:10, a shot was fired at the visiting speaker, Charlie Kirk. He was hit and taken from the location by his security. Campus police is investigating. A suspect is in custody. Notably, there's no word on Charlie Kirk's condition. Sam Vinograd, we talked a little bit earlier about security, and we had a witness who told us right here on the air that there was none. They simply had the place open at the university. People walked in, as apparently they normally do, and sat down for this event. What are you hearing about security going forward, or at least since then?
Well, we did have a witness indicate that there was no screening for individuals prior to attending the event, which is surprising on the one hand because of Charlie Kirk's notoriety and the explosion in political violence that we've seen in this country. At this time, we should anticipate that a range of law enforcement entities are investigating what happened and working to ensure that this is an isolated threat. Law enforcement and intelligence officials have been warning for years that the biggest threat, terrorism-related threat facing this country, comes from what we call lone actors, individuals who radicalize and mobilize to violence alone. We understand from various public statements that one suspect is in custody, which does lead us to believe that a lone actor may have been the perpetrator. But at this time, state and local law enforcement will be working to ascertain that this threat is contained, that there's no ongoing threat to the public. And then if it appears that there is some sort of terrorism-related nexus or hate crime-related nexus, the FBI will likely get involved to assist the investigation and to review whether federal charges are warranted, in addition to whatever other state and local charges may be reviewed.
So as best we can tell, Sam, one shot was fired, yes?
As far as we know at this time, one shot was fired and one suspect is in custody. We do not know what Charlie's condition is, and law enforcement has yet to brief the public on whether they believe that there is no ongoing threat to the public. So I would anticipate that there will be a press briefing in the coming hours to articulate what we know about the suspect and what we know about Mr. Kirk after this tragic incident.
For sure. Sam Vinograd, thank you so much. So again, there he is, the 31-year-old political activist on the conservative side, Charlie Kirk, speaking at 12:10 this afternoon at Utah Valley University, getting shot. Once there, it appears, to the chest. A suspect is in custody. Kirk's condition at this moment unclear. Now, reaction coming in all over the political spectrum, across it, far and wide, including the vice president. Ed O'Keefe has more on his reaction. He was very close with the administration, Ed.
Absolutely, Maurice. The vice president a little while ago posting a photo of himself with Charlie Kirk, forgive me, and Donald Trump Jr. saying, "Dear God, protect Charlie in his darkest hour." Again, Kirk was among those, along with Donald Trump Jr., who pushed President Trump to select J.D. Vance as his running mate last year. So there's the tweet a little while ago from the vice president. And Charlie Kirk, again, quite close to both of those gentlemen, the vice president and the president's son. The president himself a little while ago on his social media platform saying, "We must all pray for Charlie Kirk, who has been shot, a great guy from top to bottom. God bless him." And we've seen reaction from virtually every other senior Republican lawmaker, cabinet official, and other Republican and conservative leaders, and of course, denunciation of violence from Democrats as well, as we await word on Kirk's condition. Again, he was holding what he calls the American Comeback Tour on this campus. He was scheduled to hold today's event and be back in Utah for another one later this month. These events, as you see him there under that tent, started much more modestly, where he would sit in a public space like a university campus or a park, and in essence hold what he called prove me wrong sessions with people who had differing views on whatever it might be. And they would have a conversation that ultimately ended up online or being used in Kirk's podcasts and other productions. He's also the founder of Turning Point USA, a major and incredibly influential conservative youth movement in this country that helped elect President Trump, that helped elect others up and down the ballot. And Kirk has used that power also to put pressure on fellow Republicans to stand by the president's priorities, to support his cabinet nominees, and to ensure that things were going smoothly for the Trump agenda on Capitol Hill. So many on Capitol Hill today also quite concerned about all of this. But Maurice, it comes, as Scott said, as we're they're seeking accountability in the second Trump assassination attempt against the president last year, amid growing concerns generally about violence in this country, and in this case, in a perfectly open space, which is a university campus, as they should be. Seeing this incredible shooting here occur in front of hundreds, if not thousands, of people.
Stunning in so many ways. Ed O'Keefe, thank you for that. And we're hearing from an eyewitness who recalls what the alleged shooter actually said. Let's listen.
Yeah, the man who, after they took him down, he yelled, "I'd do it again."
Wow.
Okay, that's what a witness said, that the one shooter who is in custody, we are told, the person said, "I would do it again." Scott MacFarlane, as we try to make some sense of this thing here, there is no sense, really. What are you learning about the investigation at this point?
The two law enforcement officials speaking with CBS News confirmed there is a suspect in custody right now. The university had said that. Now we have law enforcement sources saying the same. There's these images that are being shared of somebody being handcuffed on the ground on site near where the shooting was there at Utah Valley University. University is closed. There's an emergency response there being flooded by law enforcement, just as you'd expect. FBI, ATF, local police, campus security as well. There is this this notation that I made for myself to underscore a point. This event was publicized. This was not one of those you had to have a pass and you had to have a backdoor way of figuring out where the event was going to be held for security reasons. This was a publicized event, location and time. It was to begin at noon local time, 2 p.m. on the East Coast in Utah. Utah is an open carry state, but there are restrictions on the carrying of firearms at schools, colleges, and universities. Maurice.
Okay, Scott MacFarlane, thank you. Let's go back to Sam Vinograd. As people try to get their heads around the idea that there's been another political shooting in America, not new to this country, but there had been something of a break until the two attempts on Donald Trump. What is going on out there that we can put into some context here, Sam?
Well, Maurice, we have actually seen an explosion in politically motivated violence for several years predating the assassination attempts against President Trump. For several years, lone actors and small groups of individuals motivated by political animus have been threatening to conduct and conducting violent incidents across this country. As you mentioned, political violence has always been a part of this country's history. But there are many factors that have really spurred this explosion of political violence. Certainly, easy access to weapons, certainly access to social media and the internet that will allow individuals to carefully and easily plan their attacks and get access to tactics and techniques for how to conduct these attacks and to connect with like-minded individuals. Certainly, the perceived glorification of individuals who perpetuate these kinds of attacks can also serve to inspire others. In the aftermath of this kind of incident, a key concern for law enforcement officials is always whether there will be copycat attacks or some kind of retaliatory attack by individuals who feel impacted by this tragic incident. So we're in a heightened threat environment, generally speaking, and certainly after this attack, law enforcement is on high alert.
All true. Sam Vinograd, thank you. We are also told that on social media video, we can hear the audio where an audience member asked Kirk about mass shooters in America right before the gunshot. An audience member says, do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years? Kirk says, counting or not counting gang violence, and that is when that single shot was fired.